Welcome to Zen Cho, who is the author of Sorcerer to the Crown. I'll show you both covers. You got that? Both beautiful, exactly. How did it come about? How did the book? What were your inspirations?
Yeah, I guess there are a few different things. I think any novel has lots of different sources. But it really, Sorcerer in particular, kind of came from the kind of books that I read for comfort and still read, but especially when I was young. So the kind of two particular authors I really drew on for inspiration, and they're both very British. Where Georgette Hare, who does these great, kind of really funny but clever Regency romances. I don't know if you've read any.
No, I haven't.
They're really fun. They're all just pretty frocks and dances and banter, and romance. And I really enjoy reading them. And I thought, it'd be really nice to have that sort of book with magic, because I like dragons. And that's and then the other author is P.G. Wodehouse, who again is he writes these really funny kind of comedies, really he's very associated with kind of country house comedies, drawing room comedies, but his most famous character is obviously Jude Wood's character. And again, it was a kind of sense of kind of playfulness that kind of drew me. And I thought, just writing a really fun book. But I guess, one of the things that really jumps out at people about Sorcerer to the Crown is the main characters are a black man and a mixed race woman. And I kind of thought it'd be interesting to kind of insert that into that kind of period and see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah.
I detected, this could just be me and what I read into it, but a little bit of The Little Princess with Prunella and the school and kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really love boarding school stories as well. So, and The Little Princess I absolutely love. So I did actually. It's so funny that you mentioned The Little Princess, because I did actually at one point in the very long revision process say to my agent, I think I think the headmistress needs to be a bit like Miss Minchin, but not as evil.
Yeah.
So
that's really good. So you kind of explained it a little bit, but you decided to set it in Regency London, obviously because it's the type of books you like to read. But what sort of research did you do into kind of that period? Because obviously there are some historical sort of elements in the background. I think. Yeah.
Well, I had read a lot of books set during that era, so I'd read. And not just, books written by people in that period, so obviously Jane Austen, but also lesser known authors who were writing during that time. But also, there's actually it's kind of a healthy subgenre of fiction, people who write fantasy set in this era. So I'm a big fan of Naomi Novik, who writes the Temeraire books, which are Age of Sail with Dragons, so set around the same period. And then Susanna Clarke, obviously, Jonathan Strange and Miss Connell, absolutely love it. So I'd already read quite a lot of that and kind of felt fairly familiar with the setting.
Yeah.
But in terms of the research I did, there was kind of two elements. So first I read a lot of letters from that period, especially not fiction, but because people in the Regency were writing constantly, right? So in the same way that I think if you're writing historical fiction about our period now, 100 years in the future, you look at tweets and stuff, and people's blog posts and emails to each other. So I read a lot of, there's this great, the memoirs of Harriet Wilson, who was a courtesan at that time, and knew various famous people, including Byron, the Duke of Wellington, and she writes this great tell-all about all the guys she's dated basically, and it's very entertaining. So that kind of was to kind of set the tone, and then I read lots of non-fiction about the period as well, about England in that time, but also other countries. So there's a couple of countries.
So obviously you said about sort of magic being an important part in the book, and you have your own sort of magic system, I guess.
Yeah.
So can you explain to us what, I can't even say it, thaumaturgy is?
Thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy?
Yeah, thaumaturgy. Well, thaumaturgy, the word comes from just literally going to the OED online, so Oxford English Dictionary, and putting in the word magic, and taking basically the synonym that I thought sounded coolest. Because I think, for me, a lot of my world building comes from language, and I think, obviously in a book, when you're reading, words are the thing that's delivering the story.
Yes.
So I think if you use a very specific kind of language, which Sorcerer does, that kind of immerses the reader in the world, and it immerses me in the world. I'm trying to think my way through it. So But thaumaturgy. So in the books, I would say that magic is kind of like a natural force. And it's a kind of inherent ability, but it's also something that's outside yourself. So you can have the ability in yourself, you have a certain amount of magic, or you can do magic, but actually you need an external resource. And I think at a couple of points, characters talk about atmospheric magic, so almost like air pressure or something, you know, something that's outside yourself. And so the kind of one of the big problems in the book that the main characters have to deal with is that England is actually running out of magic, and they're not really sure why that's happening. So it becomes a resource book. And the reason why I did it that way is because I really wanted to use magic as a kind of source of power, and to kind of, and a lot of the kind of conflict in the book kind of comes from that people are kind of fighting over who gets a chance, who gets a right to use that resource. So thaumaturgy is just a kind of system that English magicians have built around magic. But I'm hoping in the next book to kind of explore a little more what other characters from other parts of the world think about. Because you get a little
in
the book
of that,
you know, other people have a different approach to magic.
Yeah, definitely. I also love the quote, "Magic is not a democracy," in the book. Don't say out. So, why is this politics space actually important in your work?
I don't really know, because I always thought that politics in books is really boring. But then I ended up writing a book that was very political. I think what it is that so it kind of comes from that seed where I was saying, you know, I really want to write a really fun, playful book, and it's because at a certain point in my life, a lot of my friends were like, oh, we're reading a lot of books by white authors, about white characters, you know. And you know, we should try to diversify our and this included non-white characters as well, but the thing is, like, we all like reading kind of fantasy and romance and things that were really, you know, fun in that way. Obviously, you don't just read that; you read serious novels as well. But you know, there are times that you just want to read something that's really just enjoyable. And the difficulty was actually if you kind of say to yourself, okay, I'm going to commit to write reading, you know, say a certain number of non-white authors a year or whatever, is that actually you find there's not that much fun reading, I think, by and about non-white characters or non-white people. And I would get, you know, I would kind of struggle with this because people would sort of look at me as a kind of like character writer who wasn't from, you know, who was like from outside the US, UK, and not a white person, and they would say, you know, I would really like to read fantasy, but you know, by a non-white writer. And there's increasingly more, but at the time, I would always struggle to kind of recommend books that weren't really kind of serious and depressing, you know.
And issue books.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or not even issue books, but just ones where everything was just really serious. And that's because, say, if you write about black people in London in 1800s, you know, a lot of them were kind of very difficult positions. And obviously there's a place for that. But when I approached this, I wanted to write something that was really playful, and you know, and so. Coming back to your question, because there's a point to this, I think that's why the politics came about, because I started thinking, well, how would I write a really fun book about a black man in Regency London? And I thought, well, he's got to have some sort of external source of power, you know, and I thought, okay, so he's got magic, and he's also been kind of taken in by the Sorcerer Royal, who's a rich white man who lives in this status. And then you start thinking, well, how would all the other magicians, the English magicians, react to that? Like, answer, probably not that well. You know, and that's where all the kind of politics comes in, because I think ultimately politics is about power, and so the fact that I kind of try to equalize the power relationships just kind of ended up with all these kind of complexities.
I like the concept as well of obviously England's at war with France kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the magicians can't get involved, and there's a treaty around magicians not getting involved in the war.
Yeah, because it's around the Napoleonic War, and actually I just did that because I just didn't want to get involved in the war. I was like, this book is complicated enough. I don't want to like involve all that military stuff, because obviously magic would change how the war went.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously you've already said you sort of address race, sex, because obviously we've got a female character as well that's sort of entering this very masculine world.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the book as well, we talk about class and allowing sort of for people to do magic. So what do you think the benefit of using fantasy is to address those sort of issues?
I guess I don't think very much about the benefit of using fantasy to address Well, I guess I'm always really worried about writing issues because I'm really interested in these issues.
Yeah.
Really, when I'm writing, what I'm interested in is writing something that I enjoy writing, that's interesting and is entertaining. And I think if you just write a message, obviously that's
Yeah.
But I suppose the advantage of kind of addressing these things in fantasy novels is that I think books are really only powerful to the extent that they get close to the truth. And truth doesn't have to be facts, so it doesn't have to be something that, you know, when you read it, you're like, oh, that could happen in real life. But I think in order for a book to be truthful, it has to kind of reflect something real about how we think and how we interact and stuff. And obviously all of those issues that we were talking about, those all relate to reality. And I think it gives it gives a book, real emotional and moral heft if you can engage with that, even if it's just something silly about balls and dragons.
Yeah, exactly, and it is. I kind of very much did feel like the Pride and Prejudice sort of vibes, and the balls, and trying to find a husband, those sort of bits. I wonder, there's a few characters in here, obviously, and I just wondered if you can describe the characters to us in a sentence or two. So first of all, Zachariah.
So Zacharias is England's first African sorcerer royal, and he has got so many problems.
That's a good summary. Prunella.
Well, Prenella's kind of an asshole, but I feel like she's an understandable asshole. Yeah. So she kind of grows up in the little princess's position where she's adopted by an English woman who's running a school, and she's in this kind of liminal position where she has no money, and she kind of works at the school, but the woman who runs the school is very attached to her, but she has no kind of power in herself. But she herself wants to be rich and powerful in her own right. So a lot of the action of the book comes from that.
And excuse me if I pronounce this incorrectly, Mak Gengan?
So Gungan is a witch from the Malayan archipelago who basically rules over a small island, and as a result has really pissed off the sultan who lives there, and he gets involved in the action of the book, and she gets really indignant about that, so she comes to England and messes stuff up. That's who she is. She is my favourite.
Yeah, I like her a lot. What's the role of familiars in this world? Because it's not the traditional witches familiars, like a little cat wandering around. So can you tell us a bit more about how you came up with that?
Yeah, I think. Well, firstly, I think I just enjoy, like many people do, the kind of idea of having a magical friend. So you've got Anne McCaffrey's Purge, where the dragons have these soul bonds with humans, and then you've got Philip Pullman's Demons. And that kind of, so I think the idea of familiars kind of comes out of that tradition, obviously, which is familiar as a kind of basic seed. But I think I sort of use them because I really want to literalize that idea of magic being a resource, and the fact that, and also it becomes intriguing because when you first meet Zacharias, so in the book you're a sorcerer if you've got a familiar, so that's kind of anyone can be a magician who has a magical ability. If you've got a familiar, you become a sorcerer, which is kind of an extra good kind of magician, so you've got more power to draw on. You have your familiar power. I think it was just a way to kind of, like I said, literalize the idea of magic as power. So if you have a familiar, that automatically makes you more powerful than other magicians. But also, it kind of is intriguing because when you start with Zacharias is a sorcerer, and he's acknowledged to be a sorcerer, but he doesn't have a familiar. So it's kind of a mystery.
Yeah, and just wait till you get further in and find out more about familiars. So you mentioned language, and that's really interesting because I've got a question about, there's some wonderful words in this book that I will need to look up because I don't understand all of them.
All from the OEG online.
My favourite was Slubberdigullion.
Oh, that's such a good word,
What does it mean?
Who uses it? It's Georgiana, the dragon. Yeah. I think what it was I just wanted her to say. So this is another of my very irrepressible, like bossy arc characters, basically. But she's also a dragon, and I just wanted her to like be really insulting, but in a way that made it felt very traditional, but also kind of really foreign, different, archaic, because she is a kind of magical creature, and I wanted to have that kind of sense of difference. So I think all I did was just feed in like some insult, the first insult I think of, like villainous or something, into the OED, and just click through it until I found something really interesting. Because I think if you're writing out historical fiction and fantasy as well, there's such a great opportunity to use all these words that you never would get to otherwise. But I have to, when I do reading, I have to be really careful and avoid all those parts because I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Yeah, I've had challenges today. Okay, so my final question is around what's next for the series. Do we get to explore sort of outside of London and different, the fairy court?
Well, so I don't think it's going to be a very long series. I've only got one more book planned, which I'm working on at the moment. But there will be one more book, as I kind of mentioned tacitly. It will be focused on characters. So Zacharias and Prunella will appear, but more as kind of secondary characters. We'll be focused on characters who are kind of from outside England, but still based in. It's still partly based in London and partly based in places further abroad. So you get to see a bit more of Ferdinand, for example. I can't say too much more.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.